Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to all. A warm greetings from Mother Kesti Jain College for Women, Vaniyambadi. Happy to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us for the 2 days National Level FDP Session 2 on Recent Research Innovation in Computer Science and Technology, which is organized by PG and Research Department of Computer Science and PG Department of Computer Applications, Mother Kesti Jain College for Women, Vaniyambadi. On behalf of Mother Kesti Jain College for Women, I welcome Dr. S. Balakrishnan, Professor and Head Department of Computer Science and Business System, Sri, Sri Krishna College of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. It's my pleasure. Welcome you once again, sir. Now, I invite Ms. N. Raghavi, Assistant Professor in Computer Science, Mother Kesti Jain College for Women, to deliver the chief guest introduction. Please, ma'am.
A very good afternoon to everyone present here. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our today's resource person on behalf of Mother Keshri Jain College for Women Vaniyambadi, PG and Research Department of Computer Science and PG Department of Computer Applications. We welcome you, sir. I'm privileged and humbled to take this opportunity to introduce our resource person, Dr. S. Balakrishnan, Professor and Head Department of Computer Science and Business System, Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science for Women, Sri Krishna College of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. Academic credentials. Sir has completed BE in Computer Science Engineering at Nurul Islam College of Engineering and ME in Computer Science Engineering at Satyabama Institute of Science and Technology, Chennai. And Sir has completed his PhD at Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research Institute, Chennai. Sir's research interest and field interests: artificial intelligence, big data, wireless sensor networks, image processing, cloud computing, and IoT. Work experience. Sir has 18 years of teaching experience and 1 year of industrial experience. Awards and recognitions. Sir has received faculty with publishing in CSI Communications 2017 to 2019 and International Data Science Writer of the Year 2019 to 2020 by Data Science Foundation UK with cash prize, MTC Global Outstanding Researcher Award, and he has also received Inspiring Authors of India, Deloitte Innovation Award, Deloitte for Smart India Hackathon 2018. He has also got Patent Published Award and Impact Author of the Year 2017 to 2018. Research contributions. Sir has published over 30 books, 8 book chapters, 29 technical articles in CSI Communication magazine, 27 technical blogs, 1 article in Electronics for You magazines, and 100 plus publications in highly cited journals and conferences. Sir has delivered several guest lectures, seminars, and chaired a session for various conferences. Reviewer. Sir is serving as a reviewer and editorial board member of many reputed journals and also acted as a session chair and technical program committee member of national conferences and international conferences at Vietnam, China, America, and Bangkok. Sir is a mentor in Smart India Hackathon 2020 and a title winner with 1 lakh cash prize. And he is also a IEEE brand ambassador, T4 ambassador, Bentham Science Publisher brand ambassador, and Sir has involved in 30 membership activities and he has completed 32 MOOC certificate courses. Hearty welcome you, sir. A man with great mission and vision with an icon for hard work who has crossed the boundaries of excellence with his great spirit towards his profession. Once again, we welcome you, sir. Now the session is yours, sir. Kindly take over the session, sir. Yes, go.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. It gives me a great pleasure. Thank you for your nice introduction. It gives me a great pleasure for me to extend my wishes to all the participants. The screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible, sir.
Yes, yes. So once again, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Dr. Balakrishnan, Professor and from Sri Krishna College of Engineering and Technology. So the today's topic is a big data-driven solutions to combat COVID-19. So whenever we are talking about the big data, so the data in today's business and the technology world is indispensable, and the big data technologies and initiatives are rising to analyze this data for gaining the insight that can help in making different strategic decisions. So the concept evolved at the beginning of 21st century, and every technology giant is now making use of these big data technologies. So the big data is referred to vast and voluminous data sets that may be structured or unstructured or semi-structured like that. So this massive amount of data is produced every day by the business and even users also. So the big data analytics is a process of examining the large data sets to underline the insights and patterns. So the data analytic field in itself is somewhat, it's a vast area. So with this brief introduction, just I will start my session. So the overview of today's session, so the outline of the today's session, we start with that introduction and the big data preparation, how we are making whenever we go for the big data related research work or big data related handling, what are the preparations to be needed, or what are the things to be maintained while using the big data, and what are the different types of tools used in big data, and what are the top big data technologies are there, and different big data use cases. That is another thing. And finally, the research projects based on the COVID-19 and very particularly based on the big data concept, and finally conclusions. So the introduction, actually, whenever we are talking about the big data, yeah, the first thing, history of big data. So the history of big data, although the concept of the big data itself is relatively new, so the origins of large data sets go back to the 1960s and 70s, when the world of data was just getting started with the first data centers and the development of the relational databases like Oracle and other relational databases. Around 2005, in the year of 2005, the people began to realize just how much data users generated through the Facebook, YouTube, and other online services. In that case, the Hadoop is an open source framework created specifically to store and analyze the big data sets. It was developed at the same year in 2005. And also the NoSQL also began to gain the popularity during that time, in 2005. So the development of the open source framework such as Hadoop and more recently we are having the Spark, that was essential for the growth of big data because they make the big data easier to work with and cheaper to store like that. So in the years since then, the volume of the big data has skyrocketed and its users are still generating a huge amount of data, but it's not just humans so who are doing it. So with the advent of the Internet of Things, more objects and devices are connected to the internet, gathering data on customer usage patterns and product performance like that. So another thing, the emergence of the machine learning has produced still more data. So while big data has come far, its usefulness is only just a beginning one. So the cloud computing has expanded the big data possibilities even further. So the cloud offers truly elastic scalability where the developers can simply spin up and that ad hoc clusters to test the subset of data like that. So with this history of the big data, just the big data may well be the next big thing in the IT world. And big data burst upon this scene in the first decade of the 21st century, started in the 2005. And the first organization to embrace it were online and startup firms. The firms like Google, eBay, LinkedIn, and that Facebook were built around the big data from the beginning. So like many new information technologies, the big data also, it can bring about the dramatic cost reductions and substantial improvement in the time required to perform a computing task or some other task.
Sir,
Yeah.
your voice is
So-
not audible, sir.
Yeah. So the substantial improvement in the time required to perform a computing task, as well as the new product and service offerings, so like that. Yeah. So what is big data? So whenever we are talking about the big data, here the algorithm and the predictive analytics of the future. So all the way, the algorithm is very important for even for the big data. So the algorithms and predictive analytics are the future. So here, whenever we're talking about the big data, the first step is accumulation of data. Is the first step, accumulation of data. Second step, we are identifying the patterns and opportunities. That is the analytics. So the analytics is the second step. And finally, we have to create the algorithms that deliver the actionable insights as services to customer and prospects like that. So there are so many examples are there. So the big data is similar to the small data, but bigger in size. So that's the one important thing. And having the data bigger, it requires the different approaches and like the different techniques, different tools, and different architectures. And also the big data is mainly meant for the aim to solve the new problems or old problem in a better manner. And the big data generates the value from the storage and the processing of the very large quantities of digital information that cannot be analyzed with the traditional computing techniques. So there are countless examples of this, including that automated stock marketing, timing, trading, medical diagnostics, some sort of pharmaceutical procurement, weather forecasting, internet search engines, like even for the medical applications, and even for the sports journalism. So it's the applications of big data is going like that. So whenever we are focusing about the big data, the algorithm are the final link between the big data and the revenue. So the big data and algorithms also form a foundation of the virtual reality as well as the artificial intelligence concept. So as the computing power, it continues to increase and the technology continues to evolve. So the trends in big data will directly impact the development of these other related fields, like any domain, any application domain. In that case, the machine learning will inevitably improve the performance in very particularly in autonomous driving vehicle. And nowadays we are using the augmented reality applications. So in that cases, this big data is very important. And in new field like big data, the best way to do is to follow the companies on the forefront of innovation. So some of the leading big data and innovators include like SAP, The SAP is mainly to explore the world of big data, and next the Oracle. Oracle is mainly the foundation for the data innovation. And third one is IBM. So the IBM is it's a big data at the speed of business. And Teradata is another company, Cloudera, Hortonworks, Hewlett Packard, Mapper, Microsoft, Amazon, SAS, Accenture, so the Dell. So the list is going on like that. So the at present, actually nowadays, almost all the IT industry using the big data concept in a different manner, different purpose like that. So that's a thing. So whenever the big data, so the Walmart, it handle more than 1 million customer transactions every hour. So another important thing, the Facebook, it handles the 40 billion photos from its user base, and decoding the human genome originally took 10 years to process. Now it can be achieved within a week. So like that. So actually based on the big data, the revenue market is started from the 2017 to 22. The 2017 only the 33 billion dollar. But in 2021, it's a 64, but we are expecting in 2022, this is $70 billion like that. So the revenue is going like that. So it's a very important advantage of using this big data. And another important thing that is how does this one, it will make that make it as a just a minute. Yeah. So some make it 5 Vs. See, actually in 8 V, 9 V, 10 V like that. Whenever we are talking about the big data, that so many Vs are there. But basically, we are having these 5 Vs. That is a volume. Then next there is a velocity. Third one is a variety, and fourth one is a veracity, and fifth one is a value. So this 5 is very important for big data. Whenever we are actually making, whenever we are using the big data concept, this 5 is very important thing. So in the recent years, the big data was defined by that 4 V's, but now it's a 5 V, 6 V, like that it will be going on. But this 5 V is very important. So in which the terms are that we are having the different characteristics of big data. That is the first 5 V's. First, the volume. The volume is nothing but the data at rest. So here, if we see the big data as a pyramid, the volume is the base. So volume is very, very important in the big data concept. The volume is the base. So the name big data itself is related to the size, which is enormous. Here, the volume is huge amount of data. So to determine the value of data, the size of the data plays a very vital role. So if the volume of the data is very large, then it's actually considered as a big data. So this means whether a particular data can actually be considered as a big data or not, it's dependent upon the volume of data only. That's why this V volume, first volume, this is the V volume is very important. So hence, while dealing with the big data, it is necessary to consider this volume characteristics. That's a very important example. We may say in the year 2016, the estimated global mobile traffic was 6.2 exabytes, that is a 6.2 million gigabyte per month. Also, by the year 2022, we had that almost 40,000 exabytes of data. So that is a huge volume of data. We store it in with the help of that big data. That is a first thing, very important thing, volume. Second important characteristics, and the 5V is the velocity. Velocity is nothing but it's a data in motion. So the velocity, it refers to the high speed of accumulation of data. So here mainly we are focusing about the speed, movement of the data. So the high speed of the accumulation of data. So in big data, the velocity, the data flows in from the sources like machines or networking or any kind of social media or mobile, even mobile phone, etc. So that is the thing. So there is a massive and continuous flow of data. So this determines the potential of the data and that how fast the data is generated and processed to meet the demands like that. So here in velocity, the sampling data can help in dealing with the issue like velocity. And the example, there are more than 3.5 billion searches per day are made on Google. So whenever we are talking, whenever in that Google, that whenever we are using the search engines, so very particularly that the big data concept is very important. So as per the survey, 3.5 billion searches per day, or they are doing their searches on Google. Also in Facebook, the Facebook users are increasing by 22% approximately in year by year like that. So for that, the velocity, this kind of information, we are the moving of the data is very important. So that's the second parameter, second characteristics under the big data. And third characteristic is a variety. So whenever we are talking about the variety, the data may be in many forms, either structured or unstructured or semi-structured, or in maybe any kind of multimedia oriented picture like that. So in that cases, the mainly it refers to the nature of data. It's either structured or semi-structured or unstructured like that. And also it refers to the heterogeneous sources. So that's a very important thing. This is the variety of data. The data may be in the heterogeneous format, and variety is basically the arrival of data from the new sources, and that are both inside and outside of an enterprise. And that's why it can be either structured or unstructured or semi-structured like that. So we know the structured data is nothing but basically an organized data, and it generally refers to the data that has defined the length and format of data. That is a structured one. And second thing is a semi-structured data. So the semi-structured data is basically a semi-organized data. So it's generally a form of data that do not conform to the formal structure of data, like log files like that. That is a semi-structured one. And third thing is unstructured data. So unstructured data means this data basically refers to unorganized data, and it generally refers to the data that does not fit neatly into the traditional row and column structure of any relational database, like the text, picture, video, etc. The example of the unstructured data that cannot be stored in the form of rows and columns like that. That is unstructured data. And third important thing, sorry, the fourth important thing is the veracity. So veracity here, the data in the form of, actually it's in the DAO. It's nothing but here the data is the veracity refers to inconsistencies and uncertainty in data. That is, the data which is available can sometimes get somewhat messy, and quality and accuracy are somewhat difficult to control. It's it's incomplete things. So it's not possible to make it. That's why it's a veracity. So the data is under the doubt. It's not at all defined one like that. So here the big data is also a variable because of the multiple data dimensions resulting from multiple disparate data types and sources. So the example, we may say the data in bulk, it will create the confusion, whereas a less amount of data would convey the half and incomplete information also. And fifth B, the fifth B is nothing but value. So the value is nothing but it's a data into the money. So how we are converting these in terms of revenue, that is a value that is a data into money. So finally, that final B is for the value, that is the top of the pyramid. The first one, volume, velocity, variety, veracity, and end up with the values. Value is nothing but data into money. So after having these 4B, volume, velocity, variety, and veracity, we are going to the account, that is a value that comes, that is this one having the good to the company, because based on this value only, just we are generating the revenue. So in the data in itself is no use or important, but it needs to be converted into something valuable to extract the information. So that's, you can state the value is the most important V of all the 5 V's like that. So that is a 5V, volume, velocity, variety, veracity, and end up with the value like that. So this is some 5V. That is a very important thing for this thing. So like that, here volume, velocity, variety, that is a variety, and finally end up with the value also. So next, big data landscape. So as per the big data landscape, we are having different landscapes. So the service, that is in terms of the infrastructure, in terms of analytics, in terms of applications, data sources, cross infrastructure or analytics, and some kind of open source project like that. So actually we are making the different big data technologies or tools in terms of different landscapes. Either actually this five category: infrastructure category, analytics, applications, cross infrastructure, and open source project like that. So here the most important changes and opportunities propagating through the big data landscapes in 2020 as well as 2021, just like it's going on. In that cases, the hybrid cloud become the default. Hybrid cloud is very important. So based on that, here we are having the different analytical things, different networking, different open source projects also there. So here, different hybrid cloud become a default and more business types. It turned to the data mapping and the artificial intelligence that puts the untapped enterprise data to the work like that. So the more specifically, this big data infrastructure, the first one, the big data infrastructure, it entails the tools and agents that collect the data, the software systems and the physical storage media that store that data, and the network that transfers the data, and the application environment, that is the next to the application environment that hosts the analytics tools and analyze it, and the backup or achieve the infrastructure that backup like that. And the big data analytics is referred to the mainly analyzing and large and disparate sets of structure and like that. So here the big data landscapes, so many landscapes are there. So that is start with the infrastructure. Under the infrastructure, NoSQL databases. So these are the some of the industries. Some of the industries they are following the NoSQL databases, and a Hadoop retail, that is these are some of the company, and new SQL databases, collection transport, MVP database like that. Is the crowdsourcing, security, storage like that. And second thing is the analytics. For the analytics purpose, here the analytical solutions are there. Data visualization for mainly for the social media, statistical computing. So these are the different companies. They are using the big data landscape based on their domain expert or based on their needs like that. So that is a very important in that big data landscape. Yeah, this is analytics applications, data sources like that. And next, why big data? So whenever we are for talking about the big data, the main purpose of the big data is a growth of big data is needed because of the storage capacity. So it increase the capacity, storage capacities, and processing power is also increasing based on the 5 V's, and the availability of the data. So the data will be available everywhere, anywhere. So that's with the help of the different data types. So that's why it's a very, very important purpose. That's another thing. So whenever we are talking about the Internet of Things, at present we are in the IoT world. So whenever we are talking about the IoT, the big data is also very important. So based on that, the different devices are connected with the help of the Internet of Things. The IoT is born between the 2008 in 2009. From the 2003 to 2020, actually the different devices are used. Actually in 2003, 0.08% are using the connected devices. In 2010, 1.84. So like that, 2020, 6.58% are that actually approximately, that is the thing. And the world population 6.3 million, and in 2003, but 500 million people only uses these connected devices. So in 2010, 12.5 billion, and in 2020, 50 billion people using. Actually, the world population is 7.6 billion. Out of 7.6 billion, the 50 billion people they are using the this kind of connected devices. So in that cases, the big data is very important. So that's why already told that Facebook it generates the 10 terabytes of data daily every day, and Twitter generates 7 terabyte of data daily. And that's why the IBM claims 90% of today's stored data was generated in just the last 2 years only. So that is it was happening in 2020 December. As per that survey, the IBM claims 90% of today's stored data was generated in just last 2 days only. So how the big data is different? How the big data is different with the other thing in the sense here, when the people think about the big data, they generally think about the normally we people think about the database, that is right, like rows and columns of numbers all matching in format like that. But it's not like that. Unfortunately, only about the 5% of digital data is in that format, like the structured format. Others is not in the structured format. So that's it's referred to as a structured data, but 95% of the digital data is unstructured only. So that means it's buried inside the machine logs, computer logs, books and documents, website, legal briefs, some technical blogs, posting, and countless other informations like consuming the data like that. So every instance is in a unique digital environment. So the trick is to sort through all that data and pull the relevant pieces out. It's difficult, but it also offers a tremendous business insights. So probably the best example of an algorithm that processes a massive quantity of unstructured data is in the is that can be used in the Google search algorithm. That is a massive quality of unstructured data that is used in the Google search algorithm. Whenever we are doing the Google search, that Google search using the massive quantity of unstructured data only. So it literally indexes the entire internet, including the websites and blogs and that's why whenever we are putting some keywords, suppose I'm putting the big data in the search engine, Google search engine, so it will it will fetch the particular Google that will fetch all the related content. Either it may be any blogs or any website or any kind of posting or anything. So that will be taken remove. That will be all the relevant information can be take it from that history and take it from that database for the given query. So that internet is a classic example for the unstructured data. So the internet is best example for the unstructured data, and the emerging big data capabilities are allowing the companies to run the similar filters and queries on the countless data sets like that. So that's why here, whenever we are using the big data is somewhat different from other. Why? Because here automatically, whenever we are generating the information or the automatically generated by a machine. So that is example the sensor. So some kind of sensor, it will send the information and it will send the automatically send the information to the database or like that. And second thing, it's typically an entirely new sources of data. For example, use of the internet and other things. And third thing, not designed to be friendly. That is some text-oriented streams like that. So that is like Facebook and Twitter like that. So years ago, the computer algorithms are developed to allow the computers to play the chess, and every possible move was entered into the program, allowing the computer to calculate every possible contingency in the game like that. So that's why this is a very important. That's why the big data, the new data set of the past games was vastly larger. That is less structured than the original set of move possibilities. So it was precisely the data set that allowed computers to become the unbeatable like that. So that is a thing. That is a very important thing. How the big data is different in the sense. The big data is very different. Why? Because it's automatically generated the information or automatically it passes the information with the help of the machine like sensors like that. And what are the different big data sources? So the big data sources may be users. So we are the end users. We are the end user. So we may give some kind of input for the big data, any kind of applications, any kind of systems. Very particularly nowadays we are using IoT devices. For the IoT devices, the sensor is very important for providing such kind of input to the data, big data like that. So the users, the end users may be any kind of end users. That is, we are the end users. The end user may be a casual or parametric or any expert users like that, and application providers, systems, sensors. So here, that's why this information is given into the large and growing file in terms of the big data file. That is the big data sources. And what are the different big data generation points? So the big data generation points actually it's a growing thing. Actually, the mobile devices. So the mobile devices actually the $600 to buy a disk drive that can store all the world's music like that, and the microphones. So the microphones is 5 billion mobile phones in use in 2010, and it's highly 90% it's increase in 2020 like that. And the readers are scanners. So the readers are scanners is nothing but 30 billion pieces of the contest shared on the Facebook every month like that. And science facilities, the 40% of the projected growth in the global data generated per year versus a 5% growth in the every global IT spending like that. And program and software. So through the program and software, it uses the 25 terabytes of data. It's collected by the US Library of the Congress by April 2011 like that. So like another important thing for the social media and other kind of devices, they are collecting the input. So these are the different data generation points. And next, what are the structure of big data? So mainly the structure of big data is mainly this big data. Yeah. So it may be a structured one, or it may be whenever the structured one, the structure is the most traditional data sources, and semi-structured one. So semi-structured, you have the many sources of the big data, and unstructured in the sense you have the video data, audio data is the unstructured one. So as per the thing, we are splitting the first part is a structured one, and semi-structured and unstructured. As per the structure, we are having the traditional data warehousing, that is a structured one, and demand forecasting in manufacturing, predictive maintenance in aerospace, claims and text fraud in that insurance-oriented companies, and market optimization, event-based marketing, fraud detections in credit card and other financial related crimes, and credit and market risk. So these are the things based on the structure. But the semi-structured in text mining is both it's a structured, semi-structured as well as the unstructured like that. And disease analysis, social media sentiment analysis is also that is a semi-structured, and sometimes it's very rare cases it's a structured one. So like that, this is the thing. So these are it's for your understanding purpose. That is what are the structured data in the real-time scenario, and what are the semi-structured data, and what are the unstructured data. So the unstructured data mainly in the video surveillance or any kind of video applications. That is mainly it's related to the unstructured one like that. So that is the structure of big data. So the big data technology. So whatever the big data technology that is it's moving from the fast data to the to the business objectives. So the fast data here we are having different technology: Hadoop, Vectica, MapReduce, ETL, ECL like that. And for the big analytics, we are having Hive, MATLAB, SPSS, SASS. So these are some of the big analytics technology. And deep insight, we are using different way, different purpose for the predictive modeling, for the social media analytics, for the machine learning oriented applications, for any kind of network analysis, visualization, simulation. For mainly meant for that, we are using a deep insight. For whenever we are focusing this big data technology, here the fast data it uses the terabytes, but the deep insight it uses the zettabytes like that. So finally, it will given for the business objectives like that. So that is a big data technology. So what is a big data preparation? So how we are preparing the big data? So what is the important thing behind to be considered while preparing such kind of data in terms of big data like that? Here the main thing is a perception versus reality. So the perception is nothing but you spend most of your time on the analytics only. That is a perception normally. But in reality, you will devote much more time and effort on importing, profiling, cleaning up for the data, repairing, standardizing, and enriching your data like that. So that is in reality. So as per the perception, whenever the big data preparation, we thought we are spending most of the time for analytics only, but not like that. In reality, before making such kind of preparation, just some preliminary things to be done. That thing is nothing but importing, profiling, cleaning, repairing, and standardizing like that, enriching our data like that. That is a very important thing. So the data cleansing is nothing but it's a process of detecting, correcting, or removing incomplete or incorrect or irrelevant, inaccurate, or out of date, or any corrupted, redundant, or incorrectly formatted, duplicate, or inconsistent data that record. That will be removed. That is a very important. That's why the data cleansing is very, very important. So it's a process of detecting and correcting the corrupt and inaccurate data records from the data sets or table or any kind of database. And next thing is the data cleansing may be performed interactively with the data wrangling tools is there. So as the batch processing through some scripting like that. So that is the that is a data cleansing is very important thing. And next, after cleansing, the data set will be consistent with the other similar data sets in the system. So the data cleansing versus validation. So whenever we are talking about the data cleansing, here it's a process of detecting, correcting the error. That's it, removing the typographical errors or validating and correcting the values against the known list of entities like that. And the validation is nothing but here mainly we are using the data. The validation may be strict, such as rejecting any address that does not have a valid postal code or fuzzy data, such as fuzzy is nothing but such as recording, but correcting the record that partially match existing known record like that. So in that case, the data scrubbing is very, very important. The data scrubbing is nothing but whenever we go for the validation, the data scrubbing is a process of filtering, merging, decoding, and translating the source data into the validated data for the data warehouse like that. So there are 6 steps to be followed in the data cleaning. So whenever the data cleansing, there are 6 steps to be followed. First step, we have to monitor the errors. Second step, we have to standardize your process. That is flow. Third thing, we have to validate the accuracy. Fourth important thing, scrub for the duplicate data, that is data scrubbing. So the scrub for the duplicate data in the sense is nothing but it's just a process of filtering, merging, decoding, and translating the source data. And fifth one is analyze. And sixth point is actually we may say communication with the team. So these 6 points to be maintained while data cleansing performing. So that's a very important thing. And the data cleansing may also involve activities like harmonization of data, standardization of data like that. And for example, the harmonization of data short codes, ST, RD, etc., that will be removed. That is ST stands for street, RD for road like that. So that kind of things. And the standardization is of the data is means of changing reference data set to a new standard. Example, we are use of the standard codes like that. So that is the important thing. And why the data preparation is needed. Whenever we go for talking about the data, big data, the data preparation is very important. And why we go for the data preparation? So the data what's the purpose of data preparation? So the data preparation mainly it reduces the amount of time needed to ingest and prepare the new data sets for the multiple downstream process. That is the ingest is a very important process. We'll see in the upcoming slide. So that is the that's why the data preparation is needed. And also it shapes and improve your business data and render your ecosystems in terms of simple, scalable, and automated like that. And the data before processing, we have to work with a mishmash of the data sources, and your content will be inconsistent, incomplete, and in a variety of format like that. And it takes you a week to process your data and write the custom script to clean up the mesh like that. So it needs an efficient strategy to harvest and analyze the data from the social media and any kind of sales transactions. And you will have only a vague idea of the categories of information that your data might provide like that. So data after, actually that previous one is the before processing, and this one is the data after processing. What are the steps to be followed in the sense after data processing? That this data processing, the data processing will provide we provide with you a large set of data repair, transformation, and enrichment options that require zero coding or scripting like that. And also it enables you to see the data transformations and the result of script automations in real time with a set of smart and inactive tools and features like that. So that is another very important thing that will be happening after data processing. And what are the preparation life cycle? So as for the preparation life cycle, we're having 4 different operations are there. And but very particularly in analytics, we are having 2 main phases of analytical life cycle, that is the discovery and deployment. So the discovery process is driven by asking the business questions that produce the innovations. So the first step is therefore defining what the business needs to know. That's a very important. And the next, the business question must then be translated into the representation of the problem and which can be solved using any kind of predictive analytics. So in that case, this fourth step is very important. Ingest, enrich, govern, and publish. So the data ingest is nothing but it's automatically ingest the structured or semi-structured and unstructured data from the multiple sources in a variety form like that. So that is the first one. And second one is the enrichment. So the enrichment is nothing but it creates a statistical profile of the data and also identify the attribute and property schematic and the automatically enrich the data which with the reference knowledge base like that. And the third thing is governing. So as per the governing, it will use the interactive dashboard to create the user policy and ecosystem control to adjust the automated alert or some kind of job details like that. And finally, publish. So here the publish listen here. We are defining the sources and target and the schedule the event and also decide which format you want to use for exporting your data like that. So this fourth thing is very important. We'll see it in the one by one in the upcoming slide. So first thing is the ingest. So as per the ingesting operation here, the data ingestion is the transportation of the data from the assorted sources, is any kind of that assorted sources to a storage medium where it can be accessed or used and analyzed by an organization like that. And the destination is typically a data warehouse, or it may be a data mart, a database, or any document store like that. So the data ingestion is bringing data into a system. So the system can start acting upon it. The data integration is bringing the data together. So what are your data sources? So the data sources may be whenever we are talking about the ingestion, we have to identify what kind of data stored and what are the data sources we are using. And are they using any official, any office document, social media or any clickstreams log? So if so, you know you need to ingest your data before you can effectively analyze and enrich it. That is also important thing. And third point, to make sense of all the data you have, you must define a structure and correlate the disparate data sets like that. So that is a very important thing in the ingest operation. So the important steps involves both understanding and standardizing your data. That's in that cases, here you have to use what you can do to ingest and mend your data in the sense here, statistical profiling. The first thing is a statistical profiling. So it will create the standard statistical analysis of the any numerical data and frequency and term analysis of the text data like that. Second thing is a process. It will handle the multiple data format of the data sources, whether their content is structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. Third thing is a cleansing. So the cleansing is nothing but remove the non-essential characters and standardize the date format like that. Repairing is nothing but find and fix the inconsistencies like that. And finally, the detect schema. So it will identify the schema and metadata that is explicitly defined in the headers fields or tag like that. And we have to identify the duplicate also. So these are the important points to be considered while doing the data ingestion things. Second thing is the data enrichment. So the data enrichment is defined as a merging the third-party data from an external authoritative source with an existing database of the first-party customer data like that. So here, after you have cleansed your data, that is after doing the ingestion, you can leverage any patterns and knowledge-based classifications to understand the domain found in your data sets. So here, the brand to this is to enhance the data they already possesses this, so they can make more informed decisions like that. Both actually get the data enrichment. It makes this raw data more useful manner. So that's a very important thing in the enrichment. So after classification of the data sets, they enrich your data sets with the related entity from the reference knowledge service and extract the embedded entities that found in our data. This semantically enriches and correlates with your data like that. So that is the enrichment concept. And the next is the publishing. So the publishing is nothing but here a different actually maybe a source or a target or execution path as well as the different formatting styles are there. So based on that, we are going to publish the data. And governing. So the governing is nothing but here the very important thing. The dashboard is very important for the governing. So the dashboard page provides the real-time metrics about the row process and automated alert and errors. So this information can be filtered by different time slices from 24 hours up to 30 days like that. So by using this dashboard span and zoom features, you can see what's running at any time. So this dashboard page also lets you view the types of files being ingested and the size of those files like that. So that is a very important thing in the dashboard as well as the governing. Next, the automate. So the automate the process, that is a very important thing after governing, after performing that governing, the automate the process. So to automate the process, the following things to be considered. First, you can use the scheduler to set your transformations, to run on a daily or weekly, even monthly basis against a predetermined data source. That's a very important thing. So we have to schedule all the way, all the time, the daily basis or weekly basis or even for the monthly basis like that. And second, it's by using any kind of APIs, you can automate the entire data preparation process from the file movement to preparation to publishing like that. So that's happening in the automate process like that. And what are the different types of tools used in big data? So the different types of tools, actually, whenever we are processing is hosted. So the hosting in that thing, we are using the distributed server or any kind of cloud. It may be example, Amazon EC2 like that. And where the data is stored in the sense in kind of the distributed storage, example, Amazon S3. And what is the programming model? In terms of the programming model, we are using the distributed processing. Example, MapReduce tool is used for the programming model. And how the data is stored and indexed in the sense, mainly we are using MongoDB. It for the mainly for the providing the high performance schema and for the free databases like that. And what operations are being on the data in the sense, we are using analytic and semantic processing for this one. So these are the different types of tools used in the big data. What are different types of big data technologies? Mainly we are having two different technologies, operational big data technologies. So the operational big data technology is all about the normal day-to-day data that we generate. It's nothing but example, online transactions, social media, or any sort of data from a specific form that's used for the analytics analysis through the big data technologies based software like that. That's why the operational big data technology act as a raw data to feed the analytical big data technologies like that. So the few cases that outline the operational big data technology that includes executives, particularly in any kind of MNC, online trading and purchasing from the Amazon, Flipkart, Walmart, etc. Even for the online ticket booking for movies, flight, railway, and many more like that. So these are the things under the operational big data technologies. And second types of technology is the analytical big data technology. So the analytical big data technology, it refers to advanced adoption of big data technology, a bit complicated in comparison to the operational big data. That is another point. And the real investigation of the massive amount of data that is crucial for business decisions, it comes under this part, this analytical part only. Some example covered in the domain, example, stock marketing, weather forecasting, time series analysis, even for any medical health record or medical health application, medical oriented applications. So in that cases, that belongs to the category of analytical big data technologies. So that is very important. So there are two different kind of big data technologies, operational and analytical big data technologies. So the analytical big data technologies are like complex than the operational big data. And the few examples of the operational big data technologies are, so already we know the operational big data technologies like Amazon, Flipkart, Walmart, or any kind of ticket booking or flight like that. So in that cases, here the ticket booking, either Redbus or anything, social media, either using Facebook or Twitter or Instagram like that, and any kind of organization and online shopping. There is a Flipkart, Walmart, or Amazon like that. So these are the examples under the category of operational big data technologies. So second example is under the analytical big data. So some of the examples mainly, already I told you, mainly it's meant for weather forecasting, stock marketing, time series analysis, medical applications like that. So the first application is a stock market, and second thing is a space-oriented application and weather forecasting, and fourth one is a medical related application. That is under the category of analytical big data technologies. So that is another thing. And the big data analytics and the data sciences. So whenever we are talking about the analytics, big data analytics, the big data analytics mainly it involves the use of the advanced techniques and tools of analytics on the data obtained from the different sources in different sizes. So the big data has a property of, we know the high variety, volume, velocity like that. So here the data sets come from the various online networks, web pages, audio and video devices, social media, logs, and many other data sources like that. So that's why the big data analytics mainly it involves the use of analytic techniques like machine learning, data mining, natural language processing, and statistics like that. So that's why based on that, the data is extracted, prepared, and blended to provide the analysis for the business. So here that's why here the three important operations: data extraction is performing, data preparation, and data analysis. That is a blended. So the three part is very important. The data extraction. The extraction may be with the help of the structured or unstructured word. The data preparation means it's processed by the Hadoop and other tools. And data analysis is mainly we are using the statistical analysis using the tools or like that. So that's why that is a very important thing. So that data analytics tools are used by the researchers, analysts, and engineers for the business organization to access the data in an efficient manner like that. So that is a big data analytics. So next thing, what are the top big data technologies? So in this, we may now let us deal with the technologies falling under each of this category, which their fact and capability along with the companies which are using them. So based on that, here the four different fields are there. So that is classified as follows. First one is the data storage. That is again, let us started with the big data technologies in data storage, in data mining, and data analytics, and data visualization. So these four technologies are very, very important things. So based on that, data storage, mining, data analytics, and data visualization. And the data storage, we are using some kind of technology like Hadoop, MongoDB, like that. And for the mining, we are using RabbitMiner, Presto, and Elasticsearch like that. For the data analytics, we are using Splunk, blockchain, or Spark, like that. And next for the visualization, we are using mainly for the Tableau, and Plotly is mainly for visualization like that. So next, the data storage Hadoop. So the data storage Hadoop, in the sense here, the Hadoop framework was actually the best example for the data storage is the Hadoop. It's actually the Hadoop framework was designed to store and process the data in a distributed data processing environment with the commodity hardware with a simple programming model like that. So here the store and analyze the data present in the different machines with the high speeds and low cost like that. So it's developed by the Apache Software Foundation in the year 2011, December 10, and written in Java like that. And mainly the current version is Hadoop 3.11 like that. So next, the company using the Hadoop is MAPR, Microsoft, Intel, IBM, Cloudera, Hortonworks like that. And what are the companies using the MongoDB, MySQL, Microsoft SQL Server, and Hadoop. So these are the things that are using the MongoDB. And what are the companies using the Rainstar, in the sense here? Actually, the Barclays and the Credit Suisse is using the user Rainstar. Okay. The data mining Presto. So the data mining Presto is mainly the open source distributed SQL query engine for running interactive analytic queries against data sources of all the sizes, is ranging from gigabytes to petabytes. So for that, and it also allows the querying data in a high format or Hasentra relational databases and proprietary data source like that. And it developed by the Apache Foundation in the year 2013. and it also written in Java. So the current version is Presto 0.22 like that. And what are the companies using the Presto in the sense here? Repro, Netflix, Check.org, Facebook, Airbnb is mainly using the Presto. And next thing is a data analytics. There is a Kafka. So the Apache Kafka is a distributed streaming platform mainly for the data analytics. And this streaming platform has three key capabilities that are as follows. So first one is a publisher, subscriber, and consumer. So these three things is very important. And this is similar to the message queue or enterprise messaging systems. And mainly it's developed by the Apache Software Foundation in the year 2011 and written in Scala and Java. The current version is 2.0 like that. And what are the companies using the Kafka is the sets Netflix, LinkedIn, Twitter, Yahoo, even WhatsApp, and other data analytics tools are Splunk, Kinin, Spark, and R language, blockchain like that. And the next data visualization. So the data visualization mainly it's a Tableau is a main tool for data visualization. So here the Tableau is a powerful and fastest growing data visualization tool. It's used in the business intelligence industry. So the data analysis is very fast with the Tableau, and the visualizations created are in the form of dashboards and some kind of worksheets. And it's developed by the Tableau 2013 in May, and written in Java, C++, Python, and C. And the current stable version is Tableau 8.2 like that. So next thing, what are the companies using the Tableau in the sense? Here the Oracle, Click, and Cognos IT services. And other data visualization tools are Plotly. These are the things. So the emerging big data technologies. First emerging big data technology is a TensorFlow. So the TensorFlow it has a comprehensive, flexible ecosystem of tools, libraries, and community resources that lets the researchers push the state of the art in machine learning and developers. So it can easily build and deploy the machine learning powered applications, and developed by the Google Brain team in the year 2019 and written in Python, C++, and Godot. And the current stable version of the TensorFlow is 2.0 beta version like that. So what are the companies using the TensorFlow in the sense? All the Google application using the TensorFlow, Intel, Airbnb, and eBay system. So other emerging technology tools are Beam, Docker, Airflow, Kubernetes, and Kubernetes. So that's a very important thing. And what are the different applications of big data analytics? So the big data analytics application in terms of the smarter healthcare, homeland security, traffic control, manufacturing system, multi-channel sales, telegram, trading analytics, and search quality like that. So these are the different applications of data analytics. So we will elaborately discuss in the big data use cases in the upcoming slide. Now, what are the risks of big data? So the risks of big data is will be so overwhelmed. Need the right people to solve the right problem. That is a very important. And the cost also escalates too fast. And it's not necessary to capture the 100%. And many sources of the big data is privacy. There is a self-regulation, there is a data compression, and even the legal regulation like that. And how the big data impacts on IT in the sense, the big data is a troublesome force presenting opportunity with the challenges to IT or any kind of IT organization. So by 2015, 4.4 million IT jobs in big data and 1.9 million is in US itself. So in 2017, the data scientist was #1 job in the Harvard's ranking. So these are the impact on information technology. And what are the benefits of big data? So the benefits of big data is it's a real-time big data is not just a process for storing petabytes or exabytes of data in a data warehouse. It's about the ability to make the better decisions and take the meaningful actions at the right time like that. So another benefit, it fast forward to the present, and the technologies like a Hadoop give you a scale and flexibility to store the data before you know how you are going to process it like that. So the technologies such as MapReduce, Hive, and Impala enable you to run the queries without changing the data structures underneath like that. So that's the thing. And big data use cases. So here the big data can help you address a range of business activities from the customer experience to the analytics. And here are just a few. The first thing is a product development. So the product development is a one use case. Here the companies like Netflix and Procter and Gamble, it use the big data to anticipate the customer demand, and they build the predictive model for a new product and services by classifying key attributes of past and current product and services and modeling the relationship between those attributes and the commercial across of the offerings. In addition, P&G uses the data and analytics from focus groups, social media, test market, and yearly store rollout to plan, produce, and launch a new product like that as the first use case in terms of the product development. Second use case is the predictive maintenance. That's a very, very important use case. As for the predictive maintenance, here the factors that can predict the mechanical failures may be deeply buried in the structured data, such as the year, make, model, equipment, as well as the in unstructured data also. So the unstructured data that covers millions of log entries, sensor data, error messages, and even in the engine temperature like that. So by analyzing these indications of potential issues before the problems happen, the organization can deploy the maintenance costs more effectively and maximize the parts and equipment in time like that. The third use case is the customer experience. So as per the customer experience, here the race for the customer is on. A clearer view of customer experience is more possible now than ever before. And big data enable you to gather the data from social media, web visits, call log, and other sources to improve the interactions experience and maximize the value delivered. So the start delivering the personalized offers, reduce the customer data, and handle the issues proactively like that. And fourth one is the fraud and compliance. So when it comes to security, it's not just a few hackers. You are up against the entire expert system like that. So that's why the security landscape and compliance requirements are constantly evolving in that fraud and compliance. And fifth one is a machine learning. The machine learning is it's a hot topic right now. Why? Because whenever the big data, the machine learning is also very important. With the help of the machine learning algorithm only, all the way the data will be classified like that. So the data is specifically big data. It's one of the reasons why we are now able to teach the machines instead of program them. So the availability of big data to train the machine learning model makes that possible like that. And next thing is operational efficiency. So the operational efficiency may not always make the news, but it can an area in which big data is having the most impact. That with big data, you can analyze and assess the production, customer feedback, and the returns, and other factors to reduce the outages and anticipate future demands like that. And the next, drive innovation. So as for the drive innovation, here the big data can help us to innovate by studying interdependencies among the humans, institutions, the entities, and the process, and then determining the new ways to use those insights. So these are the different use cases using the big data like that. And what are the different research projects related to COVID-19? Very important, actually, it's an era for. So now at present, actually, most of the research project related to the COVID-19 is based on the big data only. So in that case, the first project is a worldwide COVID-19 outbreak data analysis and prediction. So this is a one project. Here mainly they use the methods. For the real-time data query is done and visualized, then the query data is used for the SCER predictive model. That is a susceptible, exposed, infectious, recovered predictive modeling method. And SCER modeling is to forecast the COVID-19 outbreak within and outside of China based on the daily observations like that. And also to analyze the query news and classify the news into the negative and positive sentiment, and also understand the influence of the people's behavior, both politically as well as the economically like that. So that is also happening. And the research projects, the next project is the short-term applications of the artificial intelligence and big data, tracking and diagnosing the COVID-19 cases. So that's the second project based on the big data and very particularly for the COVID-19. And project 3 is a short-term applications of the artificial intelligence and big data, a quick and effective pandemic alert. And fourth one is the modeling of the disease activity. It's a potential growth and areas of spread like that. And the project 5 is it's a modeling of the utility of the operating the theaters as well as the other related cases. So that is the project. Okay. So these are the different research projects they are using. And the conclusion of actually today's session, the importance of the big data analytics to intense the competition and increase demand for the big data professionals. And the data science and analytics is an evolving field with a huge potential. So the data analytics, it helps in analyzing the value chain of business as well as the and gain insights. So the use of analytics can enhance the industry knowledge of the analyst. So the data analytic expert, it provides the organizations a chance to learn about the opportunities for the business. So the future of big data, that's data storage and processing power continue to accelerate. So much of the current innovation, it revolves around parallel processing that facilitated by the Hadoop and MapReduce technologies. As such, the term big data, it will refer to increasingly massive data sets as time goes on. So the databases that seem unmanageable today, it will be commonplace tomorrow. And the data storage company like EMC continue to expand the capacity along the way. So, but at any one point, the organizations that are able to effectively analyze their data will be the first to exploit new opportunities via analytics and algorithms. So as consumers, we can expect increasingly that the product and service offerings as a business better understand what factors influence purchase decisions like that. So the trends leading to big data and the Internet of Things, two terminology, two keywords, big data and the IoT, are the worth mentioning. Historically, the data was accumulated and recorded by employees. So as the Internet evolved, the data would then be entered directly by the users, by the end users. For that, the Facebook is a great example. It accumulating over 25 terabytes of fresh data every single day. So later still, the data started being generated by machines. The buildings are full of the monitors. Residential houses have the smart meters, and satellite record data about our planet 24 hours each day. Then each evaluation that increased the data collection by order of magnitude, making the traditional data processing via some kind of relational databases that are impossible. So these are the overview. So with these insights, thus I will conclude my sessions. Thank you. Any queries?
Sir, query posted in Zoom chat, sir. Can I read, sir?
Yeah. So any tool for big data analytics, the Hadoop is very actually is a useful tool. You may go with the Hadoop, but based on the application, it may be varies. We have seen about the different type technology, operational, and based on that. So based on your application, you can go with that tool. Any other queries? Yeah, so the one query, how the data science is different from the big data. Actually, the big data is one technology under the data science. The data science is not only one term. The data science is it's a combination of big data and even IoT, cloud, and everything. So that is the data science. Big data is part of data science. So normally the data science is it's an interdisciplinary field. We may say that it uses all the algorithm method, any kind of process like that. So that's why the data science, the big data is part of data science. Any other query? But the difference between, we may say the difference between data science and data analytics. We may say that what the data science, that's very useful for you. The difference between data science and data analytics. The data science mainly focuses on finding the some meaningful correlations between the large data sets. That's the thing. But the data analytics is designed mainly to uncover the uncover the specific as well as the extracted insights like that. So which is better, either data science or data analytics? Which one is better? In the sense, the data analytics works better when it's focused and having the questions in mind that needs the answers based on the existing data. In that case, the data analysis is best. So that is also there. Any other question? Any other query?
No, sir, no more queries, sir. Sir, no more queries, sir. Shall I wind up the session, sir?
Yeah, yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, so once again. I would like to express my gratitude to our resource person, Dr. S. Balakrishnan, sir, for your excellent presentation about big data, and thank you once again, sir, to take out time from your busy schedule to great session. I thank all the participants for your presence and contribution to make this day a great success. Once again, I thanks for your presentation, sir. As
Thank
a
you,
token
ma'am.
of appreciation, we are sharing the appreciation certificate here, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, next session will be started at 11:30 a.m. on tomorrow. Kindly join with us. A feedback will be posted at the end of the session with the assessment in Zoom and YouTube. Thank you, sir, and thank you all the participants. So shall we end the session, sir?